Picture yourself sitting at your kitchen table, a warm cup of tea in hand, maybe a fresh salad or a hearty bowl of soup in front of you. You've spent years building habits you trust, choosing vegetables, eating clean, staying active, because you want to live vibrantly, with a clear mind and a strong body. But what if I told you that some of those healthy choices, the ones you've made for decades, could be quietly putting your brain at risk? Not because you're doing anything wrong, but because your body, now that you're over 60, doesn't respond the way it did when you were younger. Welcome to Serene Senior Life, where we're diving deep into the truths about aging, food, and protecting your most precious asset, your brain. I'm a neurologist who spent decades working with seniors, and I've seen too many vibrant, careful people face sudden health scares. Not from junk food or bad habits, but from the very vegetables they thought were keeping them strong. Today, I'm going to share a journey through 9 common vegetables that might be raising your stroke risk, especially when eaten at the wrong time or paired with certain medications. This isn't about fear. It's about empowerment, about giving you the wisdom to make small, intentional changes that keep your mind sharp and your life full. Let me start with a story that still tugs at my heart. Margaret, a 72-year-old grandmother from Ohio, was the kind of person who lit up a room. She walked every morning, tended her garden, and loved her nightly spinach salad, tossed with walnuts and a drizzle of olive oil. She was diligent about her health, taking calcium supplements for her bones and blood pressure meds like clockwork. Margaret thought she was doing everything right. But one quiet morning, her husband found her at the breakfast table, her coffee spilled, her words slurring, her right hand trembling. She'd suffered a silent stroke overnight. No warning, no chest pain, just a sudden shift that stole her ability to speak clearly. When we ran her labs, we found elevated calcium oxalate crystals, a sign that her spinach-heavy diet, combined with her supplements, had been quietly hardening the tiny blood vessels in her brain. It wasn't just the spinach, it was the way it interacted with her aging body and her medications. Spinach, that leafy green we've all been told is a superfood, can be a double-edged sword for seniors. It's packed with iron, magnesium, and fiber, nutrients that are fantastic for younger bodies. But as we age, our blood vessels lose their flexibility. They stiffen. Like old garden hoses that don't bend as easily. Spinach contains oxalates, natural compounds that bind to calcium in your body. In your 30s or 40s, your kidneys usually flush these out without a problem. But after 65, especially if your kidney function isn't as robust or you're taking calcium or vitamin D supplements, those oxalates can linger. They form tiny crystals that settle in your bloodstream, narrowing the delicate vessels that feed your brain. Over time, these narrowed vessels can lead to microclots, tiny blockages that cut off oxygen to brain cells. And when one of those clots shifts just a little, it can trigger a full-blown ischemic stroke. The kind that leaves you unable to lift an arm or say your loved one's name. Margaret's stroke wasn't about eating too much spinach. It was about eating it late at night, when her body was less equipped to process it, and combining it with supplements that tipped the balance. After her stroke, she looked at me with tear-filled eyes and said, "I thought I was being so careful, document. I didn't know my salad could hurt me." Those words stayed with me, because they remind us that even the best intentions need to adapt as we age. If you love spinach, you don't have to give it up. Try eating it earlier in the day, maybe at lunch, and talk to your doctor if you're on supplements or have kidney issues. Small changes like that can protect your brain and keep you thriving. Now, let's shift to another vegetable that's practically a symbol of health: broccoli. Who hasn't been told to eat their broccoli? It's rich in fiber, antioxidants, and vitamins, a staple in heart-healthy diets. But for seniors, especially those on blood thinners like warfarin or aspirin, broccoli can quietly turn from a friend into a foe. It's not the broccoli itself, it's what's inside it and how it interacts with your medications. Broccoli is loaded with vitamin K, a nutrient that helps your blood clot. That's great for healing cuts when you're younger, but if you're on blood thinners, too much vitamin K can throw things off balance. It can make your blood too thick or too thin, and you might not feel a thing until it's too late. I'll never forget Clara, an 82-year-old retired teacher from Pennsylvania. She was proud of her healthy habits, steaming broccoli every evening with a splash of lemon. She was also diligent about her warfarin, prescribed after a heart procedure. Clara thought she was doing everything right, but one afternoon, after a mild headache and sudden confusion, she collapsed. At the hospital, Scans showed a hemorrhagic stroke, a brain bleed, not from an injury, but because her blood had become too thin to clot properly. Her broccoli habit, innocent as it seemed, was interfering with her medication, causing dangerous fluctuations in her blood's clotting ability. Clara survived, but she now uses a walker and speaks more slowly. She told me, "I thought my broccoli was keeping me young. I didn't know it could do this." Her story is a reminder that consistency matters. If you're on blood thinners, you can still enjoy broccoli, but eat it in steady amounts and check with your doctor to keep your INR levels stable. It's not about avoiding your favorite foods. It's about eating them with awareness. Speaking of awareness, let's talk about a vegetable that seems so innocent, romaine lettuce. It's the backbone of so many salads, crisp and refreshing, perfect for a healthy dinner. But here's something you might not know. Romaine is a natural diuretic, meaning it encourages your body to lose water. For younger folks, that's barely noticeable. But for seniors, especially those on blood pressure meds or diuretics, eating romaine at night can tip your body into dehydration while you sleep. Dehydration in older adults isn't always obvious. You might not feel thirsty, but your blood can thicken, moving sluggishly through fragile arteries. That thicker blood is more likely to form clots, especially if you have conditions like atrial fibrillation or vascular disease. I had a patient, Leon, a 75-year-old from Indianapolis, who loved his nightly romaine salads. He was active, went to church, and avoided heavy meals. But one morning, his wife found him confused, his right arm weak, struggling to speak. He'd had a mild stroke overnight. His labs showed signs of dehydration and increased blood viscosity, likely triggered by his romaine-heavy dinners combined with his blood pressure medication. Leon looked at me from his hospital bed and said, "I thought I was eating clean. How could lettuce do this?" It wasn't the lettuce alone, it was the timing and his body's reduced ability to stay hydrated. If you enjoy romaine, try having it at lunch and drink plenty of water, especially if you're on medications that affect fluid balance. It's a simple shift that can make a big difference. Now, let's turn to a snack many of us love, raw carrots. They're crunchy, sweet, and great for your eyes, right? But for seniors, especially those with prediabetes or circulation issues, raw carrots before bed can cause trouble. Carrots have a fast-acting carbohydrate load that spikes your blood sugar quickly, especially when eaten alone. In younger bodies, insulin handles this smoothly. But after 65, insulin responses can be sluggish or overly aggressive, leading to blood sugar swings that stress your blood vessels. I remember Leah, a 78-year-old retired nurse from Portland, who swapped sweets for raw carrots as her bedtime snack. She started feeling off, dizzy, confused, even tingling in her hands. One morning, she couldn't remember how to make coffee, a routine she'd done for 40 years. A small stroke, caused by blood sugar fluctuations and microclots, had changed her life. Leah's story taught me that even healthy snacks need careful timing. Pair carrots with protein, like hummus, and eat them earlier in the day. It's not about giving up what you love, it's about enjoying it wisely. Let's move to a vegetable we think of as medicinal, garlic. It's been praised for centuries for lowering cholesterol and boosting immunity. But for seniors on blood thinners, garlic can be too much of a good thing. It's a natural anticoagulant, which sounds helpful, but when combined with medications like warfarin or aspirin, it can make your blood too thin, raising the risk of a brain bleed. Thomas, an 81-year-old from Missouri, learned this the hard way. He took garlic supplements and added raw garlic to his dinners, thinking he was protecting his heart. But after weeks of headaches and confusion, he suffered a hemorrhagic stroke. His blood was too thin to clot properly, and a tiny vessel in his brain gave way. Thomas told me, "I thought I was helping myself. I didn't know." If you love garlic, use it sparingly and talk to your doctor, especially if you're on blood thinners. It's about respecting your body's changing needs. Onions, a kitchen staple, are another surprise. They're packed with quercetin, an antioxidant that lowers blood pressure by opening blood vessels. That's great, unless you're already on blood pressure meds. Too many onions, especially raw ones at night, can cause your blood pressure to drop too low, starving your brain of oxygen and triggering clots. George, an 80-year-old from Georgia, ate raw onions in his nightly salads, thinking he was boosting his heart health. But he started feeling dizzy in the mornings, and one day he blacked out, suffering a small stroke. His onion-heavy diet, combined with his beta blockers, created dangerous blood pressure dips. George recovered, but he can't drive anymore. Onions are fine in moderation, but be cautious if you're on heart meds. It's about finding balance, not abandoning your favorite flavors. Corn. Sweet and comforting is another vegetable to watch. It's starchy, acting more like a carb than a vegetable, spiking blood sugar quickly. For seniors with insulin resistance, eating corn at night can lead to sugar crashes that stress your blood vessels. Darlene, a 77-year-old from Iowa, loved her corn grits for breakfast and corn on the cob for dinner. But she started feeling tired and dizzy, and one morning she couldn't move her left side. A minor stroke, triggered by blood sugar swings, had struck. Darlene said, "I thought I was eating like my mom did. I didn't know it could hurt me." Pair corn with protein and avoid it late at night. It's a small adjustment that can protect your brain. Asparagus. Elegant and detox-friendly, is a natural diuretic. Eaten at night, it can dehydrate you, thickening your blood and raising clot risk. Joanne, a 79-year-old from Colorado, loved her steamed asparagus dinners but didn't drink much water to avoid nighttime bathroom trips. One morning, she woke up confused, her speech slurred from a small stroke. Her asparagus habit, combined with her blood pressure meds, had dehydrated her brain. Joanne recovered, but she said, "I thought I was being so healthy." Eat asparagus earlier and stay hydrated. It's about listening to your body's whispers before they become screams. Tomatoes, fresh and vibrant, can mimic stroke symptoms in some seniors. They're high in histamines and solanine, which can inflame blood vessels and disrupt electrolytes. Geraldine, an 83-year-old from South Carolina, ate tomato soup every night. One morning, she woke with blurry vision and slurred speech, mimicking a stroke. Her lab showed inflammation and vasospasm, triggered by her tomato-heavy diet. Geraldine improved, but her memory isn't the same. Enjoy tomatoes in moderation earlier in the day, and watch for symptoms like headaches or confusion. Now that we've walked through these stories, you might be feeling a mix of surprise and concern. But here's the heart of it: you're not powerless. This journey isn't about giving up the foods you love, it's about eating them smarter. Move your salads to lunch, pair vegetables with protein, and stay hydrated, especially at night. Talk to your doctor about your medications and diet. Your body after 65 is different, but with awareness, you can protect your brain and live vibrantly. I'd love to hear from you. Comment with a 1 if this spoke to you, or a 0 if you have feedback. Share one small change you'll make today, and let's keep this journey going. Subscribe, hit the bell, and join us at Serene Senior Life for more ways to live your best, healthiest life.